On December 17th, 2024, we made history by beating Final Fantasy VII on original PS1 console with the entire party alive and playable. This was done with no hardware manipulation, no cheat codes, no touching the disc tray other than to switch the discs when it's time to switch them, and no save data corruption. This was simply the game and the controller. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we did it. I'm going to go through the entire route, and by the end of it, you'll be able to do it yourself on any version of the game. Now, if you would like to see our actual run of this route, the entire run is on YouTube. I'll link the playlist down below. It's called the Aerith's Revenge Challenge. I've got to say, this is one of, if not my favorite playthrough I've ever done of Final Fantasy VII. It started off as a speed run, turned into a challenge run, turned into a glitch exhibition, turned into hours of Final Fantasy VII science where we delved deep into the code and tried to figure out how this route could possibly work. There's a bunch of awesome moments where either myself or somebody in the community figured out something that made the route work. All right, moment of truth. Yes. No way, dude. No way. I can't believe this. This is the most convoluted thing, and tons of other surprises. So I cannot recommend the playthrough enough if you're interested in Final Fantasy VII science and how all this stuff came to be. Now for this video, we're just going to talk about the route itself. And yes, it does work on every single version of Final Fantasy VII. However, it will be significantly easier if you do it on either the PC version or one of the HD console versions. Alright, so starting off, you're going to start a new game and you're going to play the game normally all the way through to the end of Midgar. If you decided to play on the PC version, make sure you keep an extra save right before the sample boss fight. When you get to the scene of all the party members splitting up after Midgar, you need to make sure to not take Aerith in your party. From here, you're going to go directly to the Chocobo farm and catch a Chocobo. Do not touch Calm. At this point, you're going to have to perform Disc 1 skip, and this is going to be the hardest part of the route. Disc 1 skip is definitely not for the faint of heart, but it is doable. And as I said before, it is much easier on the PC version and the HD console version due to not having to worry about random encounters. On the PC version, you can load up that sample boss fight save I told you to keep earlier, fight the sample boss fight, get a game over on purpose, and then load this save and you won't have any encounters on the world map. On the HD console version, you can simply turn on the no encounters booster. I'll be linking two videos in the description down below. The first one is Kuma's guide on how to do the Disc 1 skip on the versions that you don't have encounters, so the PC version and the HD console versions, and the other will be Ace Zephyr's guide on how to do this on PS1 and PS2 where you do have encounters. Now after you do Disc 1 skip, you're going to be stuck on the third island. At the moment, the game still thinks that you need to go do the Calm flashback, but you can walk into the City of the Ancients and go to the normal sleep spot, and once Cloud sleeps, the game will update and think that it's now time to go fight Genova Life. After you do this, you're going to want to backtrack to the area after Bone Village and grab the water ring. You'll also probably want to grab the Aurora armlet. You can actually go all the way back to Bone Village and purchase some stuff as well, but if you do, you're going to have to dig up the Lunar Harp to make your way back. As you're backtracking, be very careful as the enemies are way above your power level at the moment. Once you're ready, you can delve down and go fight Genova Life. Whoever you give the water ring to will be completely invincible, but the fight will take a very long time. You can speed it up a little bit if you steal the Hard Edge back in Midgar, or bring some extra grenades, or revive your dead party members once Genova Life runs out of MP. After this, it'll look like Aerith is leaving the party, but in reality, she never actually left. The trigger for Aerith leaving the party permanently is actually back in Temple, when Cloud gives the Black Materia to Sephiroth. Because we skipped all that, we did watch a video of Aerith dying, but in reality, she's still safe and sound in our party. The reason that we couldn't have Aerith in our party after Midgar is because she soft-locks this specific scene if she's in the active party. After the boss fight, you're going to swap over to Disc 2. Later in the route, we're going to be doing a lot of time traveling back in time to scenes that usually happen on Disc 1. During all of those times, the game is going to think that we're doing an event that happens on Disc 1, so it's going to change a variable in the game's memory called Game Moment to a number that usually corresponds to Disc 1. However, we will be technically on Disc 2 for the rest of the game until we hit Disc 3. So whenever we're doing something that looks like we're on Disc 1, Disc 2 will still be in the console, or in memory if you're doing the PC or HD console versions. Now we're going to make our way through the Great Glacier and into the North Crater. You're going to get the ability to place Aerith in your party on your way up, and you can do this, but if you do not place Tifa in the same party. The difficult part here is going to be Shizzo, who is way above your power level at this moment. Now does this kill Aerith? Oh, it killed Cloud? The best way to deal with him is to grab the Bolt Armlet in the area past the City of the Ancients, and also grab some Dragon Armlets from the dragons right before the fight. If you can keep the character alive that has the Bolt Armlet with another character that has resistance to fire and ice, then the final attacks that Shizzo does when each head dies won't wipe the party. In the next section with Genova Death, Aerith will softlock one of the cutscenes if she's in the active party. But as I said before, if you didn't take Tifa in your party, she will come running up to you and ask to be a part of the party, which will give you an opportunity to take her out. After this section is over, Tifa will wake up in Junon. And this section will be normal with the exception of Cait Sith. Because we completely skipped the first visit to Gold Saucer, we never obtained Cait Sith. The game knows that we should have Cait Sith, but because we never gave Cait Sith a name, he never got updated from his default value, which is actually Young Cloud. In short, the developers decided to use the same section of memory for Cait Sith and Young Cloud in order to save space. But since we never did the Calm Flashback and never recruited Cait Sith, the game still thinks that this section of memory should be Young Cloud. Whenever you start a fight with Cait Sith in the party, such as the forced fight with Barret and Cait Sith will just be immediately removed from the fight. Cait Sith will also have the same name that you gave Cloud, just like Young Cloud does, until we recruit him later. You'll need to fight through the Junon section with just Barret, but it's not too hard of a section, so you should be fine. Once you get done with Junon, you'll leave with the Highwind, Tifa, and a skeleton crew of characters. There are a few cool things that Tifa can do on the world map right now, but we need to keep all of the flags on the map intact so that we can use them later to recruit all the party members. If you'd like, you could go grab Vincent during this time, or you can just wait till later. But he may help for the next section. Before watching the scene with Tifa and Mideel, you need to make sure that Aerith is out of your party, as this is another cutscene that she will softlock. We completely skipped getting the PHS from Barret in Calm, but don't worry, we will get it later. For now, in order to get Aerith out of the party, you can simply talk to the guy in the operations room in the Highwind. Once you let Tifa leave, the game will place Cid in your party, but because you didn't get him the normal way, he'll be level 1. At this point, you need to do Cid's normal missions, the one in Fort Condor and the one with the Coral Train. But since Cid and the rest of your party is so low leveled, you may want to level up a bit before doing them. Mideel is a great place for leveling up, as you can steal dragon scales from the worms on the beach and then use them on the enemies in the forest. Once you decide to take on the train mission, you need to take the Highwind all the way to the entrance of Mount Coral by Costa del Sol. Make your way all the way through Mount Coral and ignore the guards next to the reactor. Take the top path and activate the bridge, then you're free to go back and fight the guards. If you don't activate the bridge first before fighting the guards, after the train mission, you'll be stuck on this side of Coral with no way to get back to your Highwind. After the train and Fort Condor missions, go back to Mideel and do the livestream scene. At this point, you'll have Cloud back, and you'll be free to go to most places on the map. There will be a couple areas that when you enter them, strange things will happen, but the important notes here are that you cannot go to the Gold Saucer yet, you cannot go to this screen on Costa del Sol yet, and you cannot go to the old lady's house in Junon yet. Now this is the moment in the route, before moving on to the underwater reactor, where we're going to get the entire party together. The first party member you can get is of course Vincent, and you can get him whenever you'd like. You can get him with Tifa like we mentioned earlier, you can get him with Cid, or you can get him with Cloud now, or you can even get him at the end of the game. Cait Sith and Yuffie, however, are a massive puzzle to solve, so prepare yourself. The first thing we're going to do is get a gold chocobo. The problem is that we can't go to the Gold Saucer. Luckily, there is a really good guide to manipulate a gold chocobo without doing any racing, which I'll link in the description. It does involve getting a lot of money though, so you may need to do some more Mideel grinding before starting. When you're ready, place Barret in your party, then fly over to Costa del Sol and leave your gold chocobo in a spot that you can recognize. Then take the Highwind over to Junon and take the elevator. Walk towards the underwater reactor until you get to this screen. On this screen, you're going to walk into the elevator and then immediately back out without taking it. Now, backtrack all the way back out of the underwater reactor section, talk to the guy outside, and take the helicopter out of Junon. This sets up a glitch where the next time you take the lower Junon elevator, it will take you to the underwater reactor instead. Once you've set up the glitch, fly over to North Coral and place your Highwind in a spot that you'll recognize. Then enter and try to go to the Gold Saucer. Barret will appear and give you the story that he normally gives you on Disc 1. After the story, be sure to select Don't Go On, and then leave. When you leave Coral, you'll notice that your Highwind is now invisible. The game has now updated its game moment to a number that's normally on Disc 1, even though you're technically on Disc 2. From here, we're going to fly back over to Junon and take the lower Junon elevator, which, as I mentioned before, will place us incorrectly in the underwater reactor section. You're going to backtrack out of Junon again, but before you do, set up the Junon elevator glitch again by popping in and out of the elevator. This time, instead of taking the helicopter out, walk past the guy to the cargo ship and run in. This will activate the cargo ship section, although Sephiroth will have already attacked. You can run upstairs to change party members and heal if you'd like, then go fight the Genova boss. At the end of this section, two things will happen. Firstly, you'll finally receive the PHS, and you can use it for the rest of the game now. Secondly, a flag will now finally be turned on to allow you to fight Mystery Ninja in forests. Once you leave Costa del Sol, you'll need to remember where you left your gold chocobo, as he will also be invisible. You can take your gold chocobo to this forest next to Rocket Town, which has the best chance for the Mystery Ninja. Now that we have recruited Yuffie, we need to go recruit Cait Sith, so take your gold chocobo back to North Coral. Leave your gold chocobo in a spot that you can find it, then go to Gold Saucer. Walk past your party members and take the ropeway, and then you'll notice something strange. Because this is a cutscene that normally plays on Disc 1, but we are currently on Disc 2, the game will incorrectly play a cutscene from Disc 2 instead. Once you arrive, you need to play through Gold Saucer as normal. Go talk to Cait Sith, give him a name, and then go through the desert section with Barret. Once you emerge out of the desert, you'll be in the buggy. This will permanently break the Highwind, as the game never expected you to have the buggy and the Highwind at the same time. For now on, for the rest of your game, every single time you enter a field or enter a battle on the world map, the Highwind will be reset to the top left corner of the map. Now, if you grab your gold chocobo and run all the way up to the top left corner of the map, you can get in the Highwind and use it as normal. But as soon as you enter a field or get into a random encounter, it will teleport back to the corner. Because of this, it is very important that you never leave your gold chocobo somewhere where you cannot reach him. Whenever you get into the Highwind, be sure you also load your gold chocobo in. That way, no matter where you land, the gold chocobo will always be with you. Now that we have successfully gathered all of our party members, we need to fix the game moment back to its normal state. Before doing that, if you'd like, you can go fight the Turks in Gungaga to get Aerith's fairy tale. Since we're keeping Aerith for the rest of the game, it's nice to have one of her best weapons, and unfortunately you're not going to be able to get the Princess Guard since we skipped the temple. When you're ready to fix the game, go to Junon and take the elevator again. Since we set up the glitch a second time, this will once again place you in the underwater reactor. Once you complete the underwater reactor section, you have now officially fixed the game and you have your entire party as well as the PHS. There are two more scenes that Aerith will softlock if she is in the party. The first one is the rocket scene with Cid. You can either take Aerith out of your party before walking into Rocket Town, or when Cid runs up to you and asks to go with you if he wasn't already in your party. The second scene is the scene after defeating Diamond Weapon, so you'll need to use a party without Aerith to defeat him. Other than those scenes, you're free to use Aerith and any of the other party members for the rest of the game. When you fight Bizarro Sephiroth, there's a really funny glitch where you can bring Aerith into as many parties as you like, so feel free to try that out if you get the 2-party or 3-party fight. Even though we have the full party, you actually can't put together 3 parties of 3, you're forced to put together 2 3-parties and 1 2-party. One final note about the end of the game, if you ever decide to go back to Calm, the cutscene will play like it would normally play at the very beginning of the game before the Calm flashback, and remove both of the other party members out of your party, leaving only Cloud. This is easily fixed, however, by just leaving and PHSing them back in. And that is it. That is how we beat Final Fantasy VII with the full party for the first time ever on a PS1 console. In fact, it was even my old PS1 console that I grew up with, yellow tint and all. I want to thank my community for being so awesome during our Aerith's Revenge challenge where we found out how to do this. It started off as a challenge run, but then we decided to start really getting into the code to try to figure out if there was a possible way to get all of the party members together. And sure enough, after enough science and enough trial and error, we figured it out. Although we did most of the science during that actual playthrough, I did upload some bonus science episodes where we just kind of messed around with the Disc 1 game moment thing and saw all the different ways that you can soft lock the game by doing that. And I put that on the Patreon. The first episode is actually free, so you can just go check that out if you want. And then if you want to watch the other episodes, it's of course the lowest tier to unlock all the videos. Thank you for watching this crazy Final Fantasy VII science experiment, and I'll see you in whatever we do next.